So, you guys showed up and showed out, and we appreciate it. So,
keep us on our toes.
it was really good. So we're happy, excited about it. We wrapped that up. Now we're excited. We've been excited, but we're excited because for one, we're done. Two, if you guys didn't hear the announcement yesterday, we made a big announcement about our relationship mastery monthly. Yes, it's live, guys. Yeah. We got it. We're so excited. If you guys want to check it out,
it's packed with service stuff.
How to get this for free? How to get it for free?
That's why we're excited.
We're excited because I'm telling you, go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM. You'll get the information on that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Coach Nazir, the AV guy, all over the place. Nevertheless, we did want to answer just a couple of questions of what came in. But also, for those of you who did join us last week, whoever catch us live, we're talking to YouTube, we're talking to Facebook, talking to IG in the corner with the vertical view. For those of you who did have the opportunity to catch us and see what we did, we want to kind of recap our parts a little bit. Just kind of, we're not going to go into detail. Obviously, we're talking about 3 full modules and hours of work, but we kind of, we'll summarize a little bit. Maybe give them a little 30,000-foot view of what we did, but also let you know how you can actually take advantage of it, at least for the next 2.5 days and get it for free. So, but in order to get those details, you will have to go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM. So you'll be able to find out the relationship, match your inner circle, and everything else. But do you want to start kind of?
You went first, so it was day one.
Yeah.
For our audience, for our beautiful audience. What was day one?
And it's in post-production now, so it's still being edited and how we're going to put it together. But basically, during my part of the training, the module was very important to understand the responsibility of marriage to begin with. I mean, monogamy, polygyny, that part doesn't matter. So I spoke really about our first 15 years of monogamous marriage and then the following 9 years in polygynous marriage. But it wasn't just, let's say, our story. It was more about best practices. There are some things that I learned. There were some things that I did well. There were some things that I did that, were ugly. That meaning that if I did change it to go back to the, we're talking about the good and the ugly.
You know what I'm saying? So
some of the stuff
was ugly.
So we dealt with obviously leadership, being uncomfortable, making sure you're standing in your decisions and what you do, but also being flexible enough to change should need be. We talked about manipulation and how to really recognize those signs, but at the time being strong in what you have to do as the imam or as the leader in the family. And obviously what the course is called Going from Monogamy to Polygyny. And it's clearly not designed for those men who are abusive, are serial marriage individuals that just marry 40, 50 women over a period of time and play games. So, what I'm saying? We're not catering to them. We didn't really answer much to deal with them because they're not interested in investing in themselves and doing it the right way. So that's not who we're talking to. All right.
Healthy. Right. Those who are looking to have healthy marriages,
right.
Healthy relationships.
Right, no doubt. And that's what we talk about is really being outstanding. So I also dealt with personal development. I dealt with power, providing, protecting, and personal power in particular. How we can implement that in our lives as men. How we have to become more emotionally versatile, to be able to read the cues and not just, hey, it's my way or no way, and not really understanding, because sometimes women really think that a man doesn't think about a woman's feelings, whether it be somebody you're already married to or somebody about to marry. It doesn't care about my feelings. It's just this and that. Did you consider how much she would be hurt? It would just break her world and everything would fall, crack and fall, and all this kind of stuff. Like we just grunt and brunch, just like we don't have any type of intelligence or any type of emotional intelligence to evaluate, but we do. So, and some of us still need to sharpen those skills a little bit. So we dealt with that in my module. So there are a number of different things, but it's mainly, again, focused on being a man, expanding family. We talked about blended families and different exercises you can do, finding your core values. I actually drew that out because that's so important. If you don't want to clash on something, then that you find out and know what your core values are and also your wife's core values, so that you are on the same page, or even if you're not on the same page with your core values, so that you're not pressing that hot button, something that is known to set this person off, even though you might not hold that same level of that value. So we went through that exercise and also delved more into personality types and compatibility, just to really know thyself. I mean, that's the first thing you have to do, know thyself, period, and then grow thyself. All right, so knowing personality types, and then also knowing your spouse's or significant other's personality types, so that, again, you know them and they know you. So that was just first module on what I covered in my training from guide to going from monogamy to polygyny. So yeah, that's kind of a high view. Again, go to the website. Y'all want to learn how to get this for free. All right, so outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM relationship mastery. So going next.
Well, I was day 2, Coach Fatimah. I was day 2. And
again,
about,
we're not,
Yes.
it may not be day 2 during post, all right, because you day 3.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's right. Last time I was day 2. I got mixed up.
And she's gonna talk about her modules, so it's not about the days and anything like that.
No.
Her modules, but your module.
Then my co-wife gotta go next.
She don't have to go next. I would think you would go there since we started the monogamy there and then went to polygyny. So
That's right. You're right.
Hey,
Forgot about that.
All right.
It's all a blur. No, I did my part, and I really talked about the transformation, or the word transform, which is what I had to do, because we went into charge one way, and then we changed and evolved into somebody else. And when we become involved in polygyny, when you practice polygyny, when you embrace polygyny, I had to become someone else. So I really wanted to, as an initial my transformation or my journey through personal development, best practices, some of my woe to win, and my different stories of and tips, and all the different tools I use to transform into someone else that really embraces polygyny now, because I've gotten so many questions about
You didn't
that.
embrace it at the beginning?
I embraced polygyny, but no,
Me
it's 20.
polygyny.
Yeah, you get, see, it was real cute till we got in it. It was like it changed. So I was like, that's so nice. And I'm like, wait a minute. That applies to him too then. So I had a light bulb moment as a young wife, but I had to, I'm so glad I went through that. Yeah, I went from where marriage started for me, and my mindset through it, and then how I had to transform and practice personal development. It was so important. So I'm really stressing that, and how it's an ongoing thing. Because I think sometimes people think they just ask us a question, boom, they're done.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it's a process. I mean, even like right now when we're talking about Q&As, a lot of people just think, oh, if I ask this question, oh, that's a good answer.
yeah, I'll apply it.
It really is a process. It's like
it is.
building your body. I mean, building your mind. It's a process. It's being consistent and everything over time. So what about your module?
My module went a lot into mindset. That's pretty much, because I always talk about things, rises and falls on your mindset. And I talked about how my mindset was not the way it is now, and how I had to develop it into just a stronger one. Like being a wife, being a person that's coming into a ready-made family. I talk about that type of thing and how you feel, the feelings that you get, what society states about it, and then you almost take on that type of identity of what society says you're supposed to behave like, or what you're supposed to act like, or that
the burden gets on you, it rests on you.
Have you, thought about what she, how she felt or how she feel, and you're coming in, so whatever happens to you is, should happen or
You got it
whatever.
coming.
It's like you have it. You take care of you. You know, you deal with it because you already knew what you were getting into. You know, there's different things where I had to shift my mindset and I had to be stronger and develop a stronger mindset. So I go into that and actually break down mindset as a people call it kind of like an acronym, but as an acrostic where each letter means something. I also talk about monopoly, which if you put it together, it looks like monopoly. And you put it together, and it's pretty much monopolizing your thoughts, your decisions, your process, and what you do in your life and in your relationship and your marriage. So yeah, and I actually break that down of what each letter stands for something in that as well, and kind of fresh to me. But if you missed it, you gotta get the program, and we're gonna tell you how you get it, how you can get it for free. But yeah, I broke it down, and I'm like, you know what? I like that. If I think of it that way, but the M, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a little tip. The M, and it stands for mindset, and then I go into mindset, how to get, how to get the great mindset and the proper mindset for marriage, not just marriage. I mean, not just polygyny, but marriage, because I talk about how I went from monogamy, because I was married before I was divorced and married into polygyny. So, or start practicing polygyny. Talk about that too. So, excited about that. Excited about sharing that story and the other stuff that goes into that.
All right, wa alaikum salam. Salam barakatuh. Everyone who's giving us salams, Brother Akil, Sister Celeste, and Zayn. I'm not going to pronounce the other part, sister. She's back in the motherland. I'm thinking, yes, it has to be a sister because it's Golden Pearl. So, Bello. EBM, I shouldn't even. I'm not gonna try. All right, Zaina. Good stuff. But if you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask. Again, we're streaming right now on YouTube Live, Instagram over there in the corner, Facebook. You know what I'm saying? But wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Also, again, should you want to know how to get it free? Because everybody knows how to get it free, and we like free 99. Okay, we like stuff like that. So, what you have to go to. outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM for that. Now, a question that you ever think of that's popping up. I mean, I have a couple you were talking initially about.
And I got a brain fart.
Adding, building. You feel you're losing and taking away.
Oh, the sacrifice.
The sacrifice.
Do I, as an initial wife, feel like I'm losing a husband and he's gaining a new wife and she's gaining a new husband? Do I feel like I'm the only one sacrificing in regards to being in polygyny? And it's an interesting question because you ask yourself that as an initial wife, but I'm not the only one that has sacrificed things on our journey. We all three of us. So that's a common misconception that I think a lot of initial wives have, because I've heard this question more than once. But the husband is sacrificing time. Your co-wife is sacrificing time. We all have different resources that we've either gained or depleted on our journey. So each position matters. And I wish I could really emphasize that, because it seems like everything's falling on one person, and that being the first wife, and you all get to run off in the sunset and be great.
I think that's the thing.
Just like that's not true.
Society, like I said, society put that in my mind where it's like, okay, that's who mattered. Everything mattered. The first wife was the wife that mattered. Yeah. Anybody coming in, that's what you chose. So whatever
it's the kind of crap you buy into, because it's been set up. It's like it's really a trick that's played in society, because it diminishes one marriage for, and that doesn't happen with polygyny. People think that because they got married, it diminishes my marriage, or because we're married, it diminishes their marriage. And that's just not true. That's just that we have been kind of conditioned to believe that we should not believe.
Now, there's another question that talks about, would it be better if your wife helped you and assisted you in finding another wife? And also, would a wife be interested in even doing such a thing?
You want to go first?
The funny thing is, the funny It depends. That, you know, that's
That's the default answer to about
it's
pretty much
definitely
everything.
It depends.
Yeah.
Because I would say that would be pretty cool because, you know, the family dynamic, you know, your husband likes, dislikes, things like that. However, we have encountered people who they were friends before
failed miserably
and were friends before and now can't stand each other.
I had someone that I know from 20 plus years, and she helped her husband find his subsequent wife, and I was like, oh, how did it go? Yeah, I'm like, I'm not there yet, queen, but that's cute for you, And she went, that was the worst mistake I made in my entire life. Because she said it crashed and burned, and then the marriage, they got divorced. It's kind of like I get blamed. I get blamed for
the friend got divorced, or
the husband got divorced from the subsequent wife because I don't know. I don't want to know. I didn't ask her. I stayed in my lane. But when she said that's the worst thing I could have done for my husband, thinking I could help and then it would be okay, because there's a lot of assumption in that. Yeah. You think because you helped, you won't be jealous. You think because you helped, it'll be fruitful and it will work out. And it just did not. The subsequent wife, and then they'll go, oh, it's all of them. No, this specific person, her intentions were not good on him, because it was more of a, oh, you're rich American, and loaded full of money. And it was like, your intentions going into it were not good. But she was like, in my community where she was living at the time, she kind of got blamed for, well, you brought her, that's your fault. If you had,
like he didn't say, oh, well, yeah, this is it, like he don't have the burn.
Yeah,
that's the part, okay. Yeah. That's the part, like the husband don't have a burn, like he's the scarecrow in the whole Wizard of Oz thing that he don't, he's the cuckoo in the head. We're the ones that
it can
we
work.
Control everything it does because we're the puppet masters.
Yeah, I mean it can work, but I feel like sometimes you kind of rolling the dice with it. So if it works for people, that's great. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would embrace it if it works for you, but don't think that because you help with it, it's going to be just perfect. Right. They're still going to have a marriage. Right. And I think sometimes it's a misconception that, they have kind of control over it, and I drive this car how I want. I don't know about that. I think you better be careful.
That was the thing about friends. Like, how would you feel if your friend, like, this is a person that you were friends before, before the whole polygyny thing, get married to your husband? How would,
Well, I was ready to punch him in the face when he said that about that sister years ago, and I was 20. I was like, are you crazy? Because she was a friend of mine, and she was new to me, but she kind of felt like an auntie because she was older than us. And I'm like, first of all, she's way older than us. And that's number one. Two, that ain't happening. Number three, that ain't gonna happen. I was feeling some type of way. I was so bad, So I was like, oh no, I have to destroy him. He just said he was a married friend of mine. So I mean, we laughed about it. You said I will.
If I was older,
no, you didn't.
Then I would.
No, you didn't.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
That's the more diplomatic answer, and it sound better. But my ears hurt.
I would.
I marry her.
She helped introduce us to Islam properly.
She taught me how to put my kimar on.
Because we were still studying and looking and everything else.
Special.
The community we were part of. They were the ones that were the one is best EU but new.
In my mind, I would have thought that was somebody that I would be trying to bring me. I was like, hey, okay then.
And see, I love that about her, but I wasn't personally developed back then, y'all. I was ready to destroy and,
But there's another question that goes a little bit more into it. And I was going to answer that anyway, but the question came up, so it's perfect. Sister Celeste asked, how much leeway does the husband give the co-wives participation in his choice selection? All right. And then what's the guarantee that the co-wife is being truthful in their feelings when suggests to their sister as a co-wife?
Ooh, y'all asked some good questions.
That's nice. That's great.
All right. How much leeway does the husband give in the co-wife's participation in his choice selection? First off, I have 2 wives. Okay. No more than that. There's no for or anything like that. Not averse to it or anything, just not
I was
looking.
gonna say, is it a
Not
yet?
looking.
I can
With
say
that being
ask a
said,
burning question.
I'm not going to relinquish my responsibilities for what I choose, what I do, to them to say, hey, go find someone or something. That's not work. No happens. They know what I like. They know the type of, certain things that I like, obviously, but that's not their job to even do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would burden them with that. You know what I'm saying? I know people that are like,
I'm not
I'll go to a nikah, like I'm not gonna go to the nikah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're individuals, they have their own personal choices, emotions. I read that, but they won't, should I choose to marry again, then that's their responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's my responsibility to make sure things are legit and that would gel within the family structure I want it to be with the goals. But that's not part of the plan. Just there. And then also say, what's the guarantee the co-wife is being truthful in her feelings? What's suggesting that your sister's co-wife? Nothing.
You don't know.
Your trust in your wife in your relationship will really determine whether or not. But there's nothing that's going to guarantee it. Each person might be a great person, may put a whole show on, but come down to it, the real person ends up showing up. So there's no guarantee in anything. But yeah, not with that. I don't roll. That doesn't mean they can't meet or know somebody good that they like or somebody, she will make a good,
That's what I was saying, because I've seen it a number of times. You know what? If I was, she'll be a good coach. I would choose her. I've done it. I'm just letting you know.
I have not.
And but I was also told that you're saying that it's like that question. It's like you're saying, how do you know? People would not think that I'm being truthful, that I'm being, and like I said before, I'm not saying that I will not be jealous or that I don't have any jealousies or anything like that. I'm human. I'm a human being. However, it's how you deal with things and how you control and how you react or respond to stuff. But I've seen it. I've seen sisters. I've known sisters. They don't know.
And sisters have asked already.
But I've seen them already, and I'm like, oh, if she lived, if she would, hey, you know what? If he was, looking or whatever the case may be, how about her? Type of thing. And that's just kind of.
And people have asked us, does he want a third wife? And my first initial thing to do is go, I don't know. I don't put it in my head that he won't, because that's an impossibility.
And I keep saying,
I'm not looking. That's all that's what the no means.
They are.
I would rather make sure my children get married off to some righteous individuals, start the next generation, if you would. Not averse to it, but like I stated before, when I first got married, I was 19. So I'm not looking for the same stuff I was looking for when I was 19, nor 34 years old when I got married again. So I'm not looking, now I'm in my 40s. Now it's got some gray hair coming. Now it's different. You know what I'm saying? So things I have, 10 biological children, 2, stepchildren, bonus children. So that's a dozen. I'm good with children. I'm not looking for any more children. So, things will, kind of have to work out. So it's different. Again, not averse to it, but I'm not looking for it. I'm not, some people think, women in particular, think that you marry because there's a void somewhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they think, something's wrong with me or I'm missing something. And that's normal, natural thing to do, is kind of question yourself. We understand that psychologically. But that's not the reason that I know that any brother that participates in religion, like, this marriage sucks, so let me go and get another wife. At least I feel good there and use that energy, then I bring it over. That doesn't make any sense. And I don't, no brothers, not something that's winning. And I don't, brothers that's full of abuse and all that kind of craziness,
They might say do anything.
We don't know.
But that ain't us. All right. So Akil mentioned something that's quite common. We just talked about the other day, I think, even on the Q&A as well. Thank you for the question to Sister Celeste. Brother says, he says, the initial wife has told him that she would divorce him if he marries the sister that he's courting, and feels like an attempt to control him or manipulate him. The facts are that we're Muslim and it's okay to be Muslim. It's polygyny. And that really annoys him. It's difficult to be patient with transition. So what are your thoughts on that, ladies?
Like I said before, I'm like, when it comes to manipulation is never a way to get your way.
Right.
Just not.
Negative manipulation.
You're negative. Yes. negative manipulation, because, we always look at manipulation as a negative term, but, it could be some positive manipulation too. However, but negative manipulation is never a way to get your way. It's just not. And you can
get your way, but it's going to cause some resentment.
That's the part. That's what I was going to say. You can speak on that, as a man saying that, what that would do. And it would. That resentment, do you want to live in that? Is that something that you're okay with? Are you okay with, in resentment? Or are you not? You want some happiness and peace or anything like that? That's where it's still your decision. It's always the individual's decision. No one can make you. They're not holding the strings. They can't make you do anything you don't. I don't not necessarily say that you don't want to do, but that you don't choose to do.
I'll speak on that. Let me tell whoever needs to hear this. You cannot. This is the thing. Divorce him, but I think some people think that because you divorce him because of polygyny, you get rid of him. You get rid of polygyny. You're going to see him. You're going to see him with his wife. You're going to see him with his new wife. You're going to share your children. The kids get sick. I've seen divorced people end up in a trauma unit together because the child has asked for them both. I want to see my uncle and my aunt, and they don't like each other at all. You can't control it. So when you say that, I remember somebody argued with me years ago about it. And as Muslims, we know our husbands and Muslims at church pray the Sunnah, they pray the Fard prayer. And see how she distracts me? The third camera distracts me. But I remember getting into an exchange about this. And they were like, well, it's the Sunnah, but they don't have to do it. And I said, you know what? If your husband wants to practice polygyny, and I could be wrong, but I did use this, and I said, would you divorce him for praying Sunnah prayer? Does he have to? Is it an option for him? Yes, it is. But does he have to pray it? No. But same with the same type of thing with polygyny. Is it an option? It is. So I'm like, is your issue polygyny, the person he's marrying, or is it just polygyny? Because see, we're not to pick and choose what we like and dislike Islam. So when our husband is practicing something that is an option for him, be careful about threatening the option. Be careful about that. Because Rasulullah said that we need to expand our ummah. And so I know I was limited in I had 7 kids. Now people go, oh, Fatimah, you gonna have any more? Absolutely not. If it's my choice.
We had 6 before polygyny and 1 after polygyny.
Right. So our son was very young, but my body's limited. But what if he says, well, I want more kids? Or some sisters that have not had children. And it's an option, because what if it's not fair to him to say, I can't have children and neither can you. You know what I mean? So, but I've also seen that used as well as it's a control thing. Because he's still gonna be in your life. Because if you have children with him, you cannot keep his children from him. They're as much yours as they are his. And I think we don't, but some that we were talking about that yesterday. Muslim people are not to go, oh, these are my kids, I birthed them. They're more so mine than they are yours as the father. We're not to be the ones to practice the keeping the kids and taking the children from the man because he practices polygyny. It's kind of a how dare you moment, not just yours. Oh, y'all don't get me started this morning.
All right, so what I would suggest, a couple of things.
He's like, really?
It is many times, and I mentioned it before, many times it is utilized as a negative manipulation tool or control tactic. Because obviously, as a man, your responsibility is to protect your family. It's easy to protect your family when you know who's not your family, but it's not as easy when you have to protect from somebody inside your family, mainly the one that helps you make it for family, your spouse. All right, so how do you deal with that type of attack? Because that's kind of what it is.
Right.
One, the first thing I'll suggest, do self-evaluation. All right, because if you know it's manipulation, the question is this: is she willing to stay with you outside of polygyny? Seems like yeah. The next question: are you a good dude?
Good too.
All right, you a good man? You a good husband? You really have to evaluate yourself, because if she's willing to throw it away because you choose to practice polygyny, she's probably not the right one. By every brother, just every brother that I know who practices polygyny, is the initial wife was on that, and they threatened that. Okay, but recognize that, again, I'm talking about brothers who practice stuff properly, that this was a good man. Okay, so whether or not they want to just gamble, roll the dice on, okay, there's plenty of good brothers out here. Yeah, if that was the case, my daughters would be married. But I'm just saying, just being real. I mean, our sisters are at a huge disadvantage. But measure yourself up. You don't have narcissist. I'm the man. I'm this. I do this and I do. Nah. Are you a good dude? You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're somebody that's beating them, cheating on them, and all this other kind of crazy stuff, then you know what I'm saying. You lucky she's staying with you to be with. All right, that's ridiculousness. But if you're a good guy, you're a good dude, then you can really kind of likely take it for what it is and being a threat. Now, you mentioned that you are you're currently courting sister. I don't know necessarily what that entails, you know what I'm saying, courting in Islam and stuff like that. I really don't know. Maybe you're, considering someone, something like that. Maybe that's what that means. Right. So we're going to wrap this up shortly, but I don't know what that necessarily means in the process. Like, you could court, but you can't marry. I don't really get that part, but you're going to have to make that as the man and the ma'am, no matter how uncomfortable it is, on whether or not you're willing to go and live with resentment. And that over time was going to cause you to drive apart anyway, and likely won't work, just because of who you are, what you want to do, and someone trying to control you and negatively manipulate you. Or you do it. And if you're a good man, you do it right. You become twice the man. You increase your leadership skills. You become more emotionally versatile, and you deal with the punches as they come. And you learn to help her get over that pain, and that she's going to eventually go through anyway, because that's just an expression of pain. Usually, it's an empty threat, expression of pain. A person trying to reach for what they got, and what they got is your fam. They have, them as your spouse or your children, stuff like that. So it becomes a strong lever or lever, what part of the world you're on, how you pronounce it. But, again, you have to measure yourself. You have to really take inventory of yourself, I guess, and determine whether or not you're that type of guy that can handle it. And if you're a good guy, I mean, if you're not, then that really shouldn't even, that's not a someone you should necessarily be concerned with, even though it's part of your nature. You should grow yourself first in order to get to that level, inshallah. Prayerfully that answer your question. And meanwhile, Yaki, sister, so the true intention of the wife is questionable. Too many sisters see polygyny as something dirty. They fail to understand the separate nature of a man. Salam, what up, catches, Sophia, polygyny is beautiful practice, right? Indeed. Or demeaning her and comparing her to a potential wife before marriage even takes place. Yeah, that becomes. I don't get that's so immature. It really is. It's really immature.
It's mean.
And I'm just gonna be real. When people say they call people kings and queens and all this kind of stuff, and say, "Oh, you deserve better," you really don't know what the person deserves. They probably with whatever type of dysfunctional relationship they may be in, they might actually deserve that, just because they've been stuck at a fourth grade emotional level since and for the last 15 to 20 years. So sometimes people are in bad situations. They deserve to be right there because that's where they are. They haven't made any attempt to get out of that. So we all have to continue growing again. Knowing yourself and growing yourself is essential to just personal happiness and fulfillment. And by the way, we are, these are just some questions that we're taking right. But we do want to remind people that they can get the course that we just filmed. That we just filmed, called Going from Monogamy to Polygyny, that we just filmed last week for free. All right. So that's for the next 2.5 days, but you have to get the details at personalrelationships.com/RM for relationship mastery. All right. There's one more comment or question. My brother Shabazz, Assalamu alaikum. This society does not groom men to have the maturity or spiritual strength to carry this type of relationship. It takes a special brother and sister to make this work in this day and age. #respect. No, I agree. You know what? It doesn't. This society breeds a lot of punks, a lot of effeminate men. We already know that there's a war on the black man and black family to begin with anyway. All right. So you pick up GQ with let's do Pharrell, who's not for real on the cover wearing a dress. So you have people like Alicia Keys talking about her son with the rainbow nails, and he didn't want to do it, but she bullied him into actually keeping it and doing it, thinking she's like doing something good or positive. Nah, I mean, we are the biggest threat, if you will. So anything moral, please believe it to be shunned. However, when you're talking about the gayness and the trans, this and not knowing your gender and whatever immorality is there. I mean, I was at a training yesterday. It's a really good training. And there was this guy, we're introducing ourselves kind of in this circle and so on and whatever. And he's like going on about his husband. I'm like, all right, like whatever. And everybody's like, really? No, man, 15, 20 years ago, I need to know nor care at all whatsoever, whatever your sexual preference or whatever it is that you do. When you start defining yourself by actions, that takes a whole nother color. All right. So for him even doing that, he's a nice guy, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't go beat him up and get physical and violent, anything like that. I mean, whatever trauma may have occurred in his life to have him, choose that way or go that way, or whatever chemical imbalance he has. I mean, those are his issues. But the point is not that. The point is that on immoral things, we've been conditioned to celebrate that. I remember when I was a teenager, and my wife, I met her when I was 14, right? And I said, I'm going to marry her. It wasn't just I'm going to marry. I'm like, I'm just, no, this was like, that's going to be my wife. I knew this, right? Just kind of spoken into existence. I didn't know.
I thought he was crazy.
But I said it, right? So 5 years later, like we were married, which I wasn't none of that stuff when I met her. But I remember my mother was talking about, I was like, I told mom, I was like, yeah, mom, I think I'm going to marry her, after like 6 months or so of knowing her. And my mom was like, boy, what you need to do, what you should do, you don't want to just get your first girlfriend, real girlfriend type thing in high school. You got to just, experience life a little bit more and this and that. So my mom was really on the, just go ahead and have all these girlfriends, just test these different things out and see what flavor you like, basically, right?
Yikes.
Yeah, for real. And then I remember that happened on TV. I was watching Fresh Prince, right? Remember he was talking about Will Smith was like, oh, to get married. They were like, no, like, dude, this is like this anti-morality push is ridiculous. Yeah, Cosby Show, all that stuff, So when it comes to something moral, when it comes to something like this in particular, that's a solution for our community that's strong and requires you to be more than twice the man, that's going to be a problem. Because even looking at the origins of monogamy and looking at the whole Greco-Roman philosophy behind it is you're only responsible for one woman. That's monogamy. You have one legal wife. That's it, your spouse. One legal one. Anything that comes from there, any children, you're responsible for that. But you can have as many girlfriends, boyfriends, concubines, jump downs, mistresses, whatever. You can have as many as you want there. You're not responsible for that. I mean, Bill Clinton, Jesse Jackson, all the rest of stuff. We can go on and on and on. These different politicians, famous individuals, they step out, they practice in monogamy the way it's supposed to be practiced. All right. So again, not to go on this whole big old rant about it, but the fact is that's the society that we live in. So going against grain or something that seems strange, just like Islam started as something strange, is going to return to it. So we got Muslims who, in our view, we have the best and most complete system. We have these rules and regulations on polygyny that deal with fairness and justice and the flexibility to make sure things are going right and these women's rights. And that's looking like it's crazy. But meanwhile, you have two people of the same sex that cannot procreate. Like, I don't argue with people on gay and lesbianism, on religion just becomes foolish because they may not believe in God or whatever else or scripture. But you can say, okay, cool. Well, we can just easily judge it on something on morality, on morals or life. So let's say everybody does it. Let's say everybody gets married, right? All right, cool. And male, female get married, and have children. So our species continues. So let's say everybody is gay. Every guy get a guy, get a woman. That's that. Well, that's the end of us. Well, kind of measuring that, it's like, okay, now again, this is not about that. It's just a part of if something is moral, considered moral. Like now they're moral shaming. Mm-hmm. They don't want to call it moral shaming. It's moral shaming. Like, dude, there's such thing as slut shaming. Mm-hmm. But again, the Prophet said, if you don't have no shame, then do as you wish. Shame is there to kind of protect us. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I want to go all off on that. But the fact is, polygyny is something that's moral. It requires you to be more and to do better. And as Muslims, that's what we practice, period. And whether or not working a lot of non-Muslims, whether they're Hebrew Israelites, Sephardic Jews, just African spiritualists, or what have you, and we share who we are. We Muslims, obviously, we practice polygyny, but other people practice polygyny as well from their cultures, and we share with them our best practices. And whether that's dealing with different psychology or family dynamics and so on and so forth, that's what we share. We love to do that. We love to serve people, and that's why this course, going from monogamy to polygyny, you can copy it free and find out how at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM. That was a good little segue. I like that.
Hey.
Anyway, let's see. We got to go wrap it in a few seconds. Let's see. My issue is men wanting more than one wife, and he's not really supporting the first wife, says the sister.
It's a lot of women's issue.
Mm-hmm. So what y'all say?
I understand that frustration because that's not the first time any of the three of us have heard this before. I really think people need to sit down and have a conversation and get some clarity. We're talking about clarity today in our family meeting, and clarity is so important. You got to ask people tough questions sometimes. Same way our husbands have to ask us tough questions and get down to the bottom of some of this and the why and what's going on. Because it's like, I know something happened because this is that way. Is it not? You know, instead of being accusatory, I'm serious. Sit down and have a conversation about some of this. Boom. Turn it the other way, bro. You know, it messes with you.
So I can get the question right there. So yeah, the camera is right there for YouTube.
It's gonna happen again, y'all.
Yeah.
Do it on the next
Training.
one. But
you
gotta have a
all right, because here's the deal. We know that legally speaking, Islamically speaking, that if a man fears that he cannot do justice, all right, he fears he cannot be fair with them, then he should not marry more than one woman. Though the default is at least two, all right? And so does Nisa, or Allah says to marry 2 or 3 or 4. But if you fear you cannot be just or fair, then 1. Then, all right? So with that being said, that's the normal default. Oh, you can't pay for that. You can't do that. Or because it's money and time. And then there's the, you ain't got no time anyways, can't do it. Because that's the legal way. But is that really the reason usually? Or is that the legal reason I'm gonna reach for? Because I know that I don't have any other grounds to do it. Because anytime most of us, I mean, just to be real, most of us living in luxury and have no idea. Just talking with you right now on the internet with these lights, with heat right here is luxury, where most of the world, over 60% makes less than $2 a day. Now, if a husband is providing for you the necessities, he's only feeding you and giving you some cloth so you can clothe your body and some basic shelter, you would likely probably have a lot more room. Some said, you have a plate of food for it's enough for 2, and talking about generosity. Now, I'm not talking about just some deadbeat, not working, not doing anything type dude and marry. Yeah, exactly. You go out and do this. There's those type of people. I'm in the Midwest. We come from where Donald Goines wrote his books at. You know what I'm saying? Iceberg Slim and all that. So this whole pimping thing and all that, that's not, that ain't it. We leave that for other people. So yeah, that's not what we're gonna put. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I did. That's the thing too. I do some of the money and stuff for us, because I've seen some sisters say, "Oh, I'll start asking for more things so he can never afford." I've heard that. It's like, I'm gonna do this stuff so he'll never be able to afford to get another wife or anything. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, like that's not. When it comes to maintenance, it's not as much as you trying to pull out of somebody. I saw something else that said, don't let. I mean, I go by this mentality, and it was like, don't let what he's providing for you, it wasn't, I'm paraphrasing, something like, that's the only way you eat, by what is being provided for you from your husband or another person. Because I feel like it actually takes away from, just your ability and, your power as a human being, your power as a person, your power as a strong woman. And I'm not saying that I'm an independent woman. I don't need nobody. I'm not talking about that type of thing, but just the fact that if you're going to use something that diminishes you to manipulate somebody else, that doesn't empower you, a person at all. So
I want to say something on that too. With this, One thing I like about myself and my co-wife is that you're not going to get away with that kind of talk around us, because if you love someone, you would want to make it easier, and that goes both ways between husband and wives, vice versa. So I've had women say, "Well, you didn't get me a new iPhone, and I don't have a new, like a Honda. I got the one from such and such years ago, so he can get it." And I'm like, you lucky you got a car and not riding the bus. You lucky you got a cell phone at all. I mean, so to have this attitude of being ungrateful and making something harder instead of making it easier. And I'm not saying, oh, just be without clothes and be without food so he can have another wife. I'm not saying that. I'm also not saying, oh, he didn't get you a new phone, well, then you need to drop him. Or he needs to divorce his wife because you can't have all this excess luxury. I don't understand that, because all this will be destroyed. I promise you. The whole I didn't get a new phone thing, and then, or she got a new phone, and I don't know who got the phone. You don't know who got the clothes. You don't know who got the shoes. She could have bought her own stuff. There's assumption in it.
Yep.
There's assumption. They'll see. I've seen wives see one. Who told you that?
Right.
Half the time, especially when we shop or do something, he's not even there. Like we're getting stuff, we're picking things out.
I may get a third.
Yes.
And then she be kicking with them.
See that? Yeah, because we'll take her away from it. We'll take her away. Yeah, but it's just like you don't understand. You don't know where something came from that the other wife has on, or this one has. You don't know.
You don't know.
So don't assume he got every little bitty thing she's got, because that happens.
But if you're getting taken care of, I mean, this is the thing, maintenance. That's what it comes down to. And that's the thing where, like I said.
What does that word mean? What is maintenance?
And he's not taking care of it. He wants.
Now, clarification on this too. So I will.
Okay, well, one more thing, because it was like the question was talking about want. People can want all day long. Want another wife, they don't do what they want. People can want all day long, but actually taking that leap and taking that step to deal with the other stuff is a whole other. That's a whole.
And you're not gonna stop. You will not control a man wanting women. That's not gonna happen.
That's
like
it's comical because it's ridiculous.
It is what it is. I mean, that's not perfect. But anyway, the sister does go on to clarify. She agreed. Basic housing, time, food. She's not including wants. She has her own before she married her husband. But her friend's the second wife, and the brother can't even pay her rent. Okay. So now we're gonna go. We got one question after this though, and then we're gonna wrap it up. And then she says, if it means you don't take care of our children and needs to start another home with the sister, I would not pardon the brother. It does happen. Because it does.
Yeah,
it does happen.
It does.
And we talked about people. So, with that being said, did y'all want to comment on that?
You want to go first?
No, I mean, I agree. I agree with that. When it comes to children, taking care of children, that's a whole other thing too, because maintenance of a wife is different than maintenance of the children. Even when it comes to time. The time between wives gets split up. The time between children don't need to get split up. So it's a difference when it comes to what wives get and have
versus
their rights,
children.
versus the rights that the children have as well. So
okay, indeed. Now, in closing, seriously this time, there are some clarifications on this, so I want to clarify that. But if you haven't already subscribed to what we're doing in some of our videos on YouTube, please do so. It's Outstanding Personal Relationships. Subscribe so that we can stream easier from our cell phones. All right, we gotta get 1,000. We like about 300 something right now. So if you like it, if you get value, smash subscribe, hit the like button, share, all of that good stuff.
Because sharing is caring.
All right, now, but yeah, sis, we definitely agree with that. That's important. Brothers do take advantage. Period. So you have to avoid them.
There's
letting
some
me
horror
know.
stories. Yes.
I'm all for like a website full of do not area or investigate further for Waleeds and Wakils.
Yep.
But it becomes a challenge. With that being said, Lucid Dreamer asks. So I want to. She says, "You have to be wealthy to marry a second wife, And is it a prerequisite in Islam?
No.
Yes.
Wealthy?
Wealthy, yes,
Yes.
wealthy.
Yes.
Wealthy.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a
You
do
different
have to be
kind of
wealthy.
wealth.
Yeah, you
You gotta have
Financially
different
wealthy?
kind
Not
Yeah.
necessarily, no.
Yeah, because
Now,
this
wealthy, you
place-
do have to be wealthy when it comes to your emotions. You have to be wealthy when it comes to your care and concern and being a real, person. So that's all part of doing what I say, becoming more than twice the man. Financially wealthy, no, you don't.
Right.
But you have to be fair, which goes into another part of the clarification. Is just ask, what about one co-wife who requires more maintenance than the other simply due to her having more children? There are some women who immaturely compare and see it as unfair when it's not. It's equity. And she answered the question right there. There's some sisters who is immaturely think, yeah, it doesn't mean equal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Coach Fatimah Nyla, we have 7 children. All right. And Coach Nazir, we have 3 that are biologically mine. And then my other, so there's like 4. So would it make sense that 4 children versus 7, even though not 7 living in the house? But yeah, they're
At one
older.
time,
says
but
something
It's a
else.
lot of
But at one time they were living
So,
in the
yes.
house.
So it's totally
Right.
different thing.
But again, so one house may need more rooms than the other house.
Yes, I was gonna say.
You know what I'm saying? So are you gonna get another
personally know
house?
People that have
That's ridiculous.
Less
Let's say I marry a
kids.
3rd wife, right? I have all these kids, these kids in this house, and the house big, but then I get another wife, and I need to have all these extra rooms. This the guest room, this the kid, this the extra room. It becomes that doesn't really make sense. And I know sometimes we just don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what people are on their.
Yeah.
Poking fun, so
But-
Yeah.
we're not.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a thing. We
equal.
know that.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Women that brought their father in and I don't have this and that, and I'm like, you don't have as many kids as his sister.
Yeah,
So it's different.
But that's the thing, when it's,
Yeah.
fair
Right.
versus equal.
Come on, hearts. You see those hearts.
I see them.
Thanks for the
Thank
love.
you.
The idea of not Yusuf,
It's not.
the idea of not dealing justly means the man is not a just person. Okay, because one of the characters of manhood, let's see it. The Rajul in Islam, of course, yeah, man. For a believer to be just person. Yes. MashaAllah, 7 children. I have 10 children.
He
Believe in
he
him.
wins.
Oh,
All
right.
He has
But
more than both
thank
of
you.
us.
But yeah, that's so we don't pretty much probably wrap it at that, inshallah. Again, remind you, if you want to take advantage of the course,
Oh,
no.
because I guess part of it, you get worksheets, you get a guide, you get a checklist, you get all this stuff.
Yeah.
So let me get out of the program and let you know the name of the program is going. And that's a G2. Going.
That'll be our next
From,
Right, guide to. Yeah.
going from monogamy to polygyny, course that we just filmed live and is in post-production right now. So if you want to get that for free, because it will sell for $297 is the price point we're looking at right now. And if you want to get that for free, you go to outstandingpersonalrelationship.com/RM.
For relationship mastery.
Yes. And find out the details, inshallah. Until then, we're going to chime in with you from our Facebook page because it's easier because we have 1,000 subscribers. So if you have friends, share the stuff so we can get where we need to be and we can actually show. But right from our Facebook page, we're going to be with you live throughout the week doing a few different things, inshallah. And that's pretty much it. Plug in, subscribe, like, share, do all that good stuff. And we love to provide for you. Keep us in your du'as. We definitely need them. And if we say anything that was incorrect, it's obviously it's from ourselves. So don't hold it against us. Don't charge it to our heart, charge it to our mind. And that we are getting old and feeble.
Right, I was gonna say.
All these grades, they popping. I'm like, oh my God, it's like this. Listening.
Thank you guys so much for the questions. Great questions. Thanks for the feedback,
And the
the
love.
love, support, all that wonderful stuff.
See y'all when
Cool.
sometime this week.
Yeah, we'll see you this week, inshallah. Now, we are on IG. Hey, IG, I know we leaving you out. That's because
See
you
you,
vertical.
girl.
You vertical. You like this. You ain't like this. Then it's harder, But nevertheless, on IG, we outstanding relationships. So if you want to follow us there, it's all good. We connect with our people. We respond. Any questions you may have outside of this, feel free to submit them at support@outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. We try to respond to you. But again, our students and different clients, they really get first access just out of respect for them. And even though we just answered some Q&A here, we go a lot deeper in our courses in our relationship mastery inner circle. So if you want to get us to your area, reach out to us, let us know the deal. You want to have a closer access to what we do, things and everything, make sure you go to the website again, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM, and we'll go from there. Other than that, appreciate you. Be well. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Remember, be outstanding, because average, nothing but the top of the bottom, or the bottom of the top.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace.